with everything that has been coming out, like I said before, October 3rd is the set date for the sentencing. Sean Diddy Combs' defense team asked for acquittal or new trial. This isn't shocking or surprising. I think they're just going to try everything in their power, just because, we don't know for a fact what his sentencing is going to be. There's rumors it could be this, there's rumors it could be that, but we don't know officially what they're going to do. I will say, though, with, a pardon possibly happening, I just feel like they're just trying to do everything before the sentencing. This new trial, I don't know, man. Let's see how they break this down. Again, appreciate y'all coming over and watching, man. We ain't gonna waste no more time. Let's jump right into it.
Sean Diddy Combs' defense is requesting either a new trial or an acquittal altogether. Combs was found not guilty of the more serious racketeering conspiracy charges, but was convicted of transporting across state lines. Now his attorneys say his actions don't fit the crime. Let's bring in Chief Investigative Correspondent Aaron Katersky and ABC News legal contributor Brian Buckmeyer for more. Aaron, what's the latest here?
So, Diane, his attorneys say that the way this was charged doesn't exactly match what Sean Combs did. And they say he's the only person who's ever been convicted of this charge, transportation for the purpose of who hasn't benefited other than through voyeurism.
So, again, I just have to say this. Pretty much every time you react to a video dealing with Diddy, because of the words they use, like, we already know what he's been charged for. We know this. I don't know why they have to really say it and repeat it every single time. My goodness. But that's where you'll notice the little cuts. I try to do it in a way where the video still makes sense, but they basically keep repeating what he's been charged for, which I have to edit out.
They say voyeurism, watching other people, isn't what this law was meant to address. Combs, they say, didn't profit. In other words, he was no pimp here, and he wasn't a John either. Instead, he brought girlfriends and male escorts across state lines to watch them. And his attorneys say that just doesn't fit what the law is about.
Brian, what would it take for a judge to agree to either a new trial or an acquittal here?
Great
The judge had to agree to what the arguments, as Aaron Katersky laid out, were to be true, that the use of the Mann Act, or specifically transportation engagement, has never been in the ways applied here. This would be new precedent in many ways for both ways. If the judge was to agree that the Mann Act can extend to an individual who does not commercially profit or who does not participate in it, but it also would be precedent setting to dismiss or acquit Sean Combs of these two charges. The other aspect of it as well would be to look at this case and say that the information that came in from the racketeering conspiracy allegations, we're talking about the force, the fraud, the coercion, that infamous Intercontinental Hotel video would have been prejudicial towards Sean Combs if just looking through the lens of this transportation to engage in that argument would allow for another trial. But I don't think it's going to happen at this level in front of Judge Supermanian. I think this is a stronger argument on an appeal if they bring it to a higher court.
So, Brian, is the idea that if you had just charged him with this and the trial was just about this, he would not have been convicted?
Yeah, that's the second part of the argument, that argument for a new trial. They're saying that if you had information like the Intercontinental video, the allegations of assault or coercion that would not have come in because they would not have been relevant as to, as the defense is arguing, the consensual recording.
I get that. And I that's why I said that, his team was pretty much bragging about the domestic stuff because, not necessarily bragging, but really agreeing. Like, yeah, he can be violent, he can be this, but I felt that it goes hand in hand when you're trying to get someone to do things because of the fear. They feared that there would be repercussions. I just still don't know why people don't see that. But again, he wasn't being charged for that. So they're basically saying if you take all of that out if that was never shown, if we didn't know about the video and stuff like that, would he basically have been, or put in jail? I don't know, man. The system is, I don't know. I don't know. But then you got to throw karma in there. So
transportation of individuals across state lines, that information would have not come in. And because that information did come in, it prejudiced Sean Combs. And for that reason, or at least for one of the many arguments, Sean Combs should be afforded a new trial.
Aaron, the defense is also trying to get him out of jail on bond or bail as he awaits the sentencing on this lesser charge. What's the latest on that?
Along the same lines, they don't believe that a conviction on this one count warrants his incarceration. The judge said that there is a presumption of being held without bond or bail when you're convicted of this crime, and that's what prosecutors pushed. The judge agreed. The judge also noted that Combs was violent, that the violence was depicted on the video. It was testified to by witnesses. The defense, what Brian says that none of that really should have applied to this one charge, so therefore let him out until he's sentenced on October 3rd.
Brian, the fact that the judge cited violence and that hotel video as part of the reason for keeping Combs in jail, could that help the defense with this larger argument that this other conviction should be dropped?
In some sense, yes, but what we're doing is kind of mixing apples and oranges as to what a judge can consider for bail purposes, where you're asking the question of whether or not a person is a flight risk or whether or not they're a danger to community. Judge Subramanian, looking at that standard, used the violence that he saw, that we all saw in this trial, to keep him in. But the different analysis for whether or not a charge should be dismissed applies in a different setting. That would be the apples and oranges again, where the violence should not have come in if Sean Combs was only tried for this one charge. And so they can kind of pick and choose their arguments differently as it applies to different standards. And yes, it overall could benefit them.
Aaron, what are you watching for looking ahead to sentencing in October?
Well, he faces, in theory, there's 10 years in prison. It doesn't seem like that's what the judge is thinking, because even though he found Sean Combs to be a danger and kept him in jail pending sentencing, he also challenged federal prosecutors to show him cases where anyone convicted solely of the charge of transportation to engage was given anything along the lines of a 10-year prison sentence. And the defense certainly doesn't think those cases exist. Prosecutors haven't submitted anything just yet. They're going to push undoubtedly for a stiff sentence. The judge has taken note of Combs's violence. The defense says he is already talking about a batterers program, so he can probably do that without having to be in jail for any more than time served.
All right, Aaron Katersky, Brian Buckmeyer.
Before this trial started, with all the information that we thought was going to come out in court, I was feeling pretty confident that he was going to serve a lot of time. Now, like when you listen to the information from TMZ, and this guy pretty much agreeing with TMZ, or these guys, I hate to say it, but he may not get more than a year. If that. If that. They always say when you go to prison, you have a lot of time to think and reflect. And I guess he's just playing back in his head the role that he played in all of this, as far as the stuff that was going down in the bedroom. Because a lot of people were saying that, they throwing him in jail because he freaky. And in my head, I'm just like, what happened to all the like people claiming that stuff was put in their drink? Was the baby oil laced? What happened to all of that? So And then you hear people saying like Cassie was the one making the calls. And I'm like, come on, you guys, you can't be that damn slow. You don't think Diddy was telling her to make these calls? You don't think the stuff that was being paid for was from Diddy's money? Like, this man had so much control over her. But with all that being said, the way they just broke this down, I don't know, man. I can literally sit in this chair right now and tell you that I am confused. I am lost on what is about to happen. You know, if they end up doing a new trial and a acquittal, they still need to release those Epstein files, though. I don't know, y'all. Do I dare look at some of the comments? Someone said the claims of voyeurism is BS. Who hired and paid for the, the people there? There's all you need to prove the guilt. The answer to that question is Diddy. Who paid for the transportation? Diddy. I don't know, man. Because it's like, as of right now, I'm with everything that's been going on, man, I'm just losing faith in the system. Faith that I know a lot of people never had. But at some point you were like, oh, it done caught up with him. They're going to catch him. They're going to get this right. And now it just ain't looking like that. So I can sit here confidently and say, I do not know what the hell is about to happen. Like, share, comment below what you guys think. All right. Peace out.